Are there any questions of the speaker by the staff? And now I'd like to give the opportunity for the Blue Ribbon Commission members and for the public to ask any questions they may have of the speaker. We have an expert who has a lot of information here, so if you have any questions on how this process works, this is the time to ask them. Yes, ma'am, come on up. You can take the other speaker. We set up a special microphone for members of the public.
I thought of a question. I'm Peg Buffalo. I'm a property owner in the downtown district. Regarding the formation of the two different scenarios you proposed, how would we go about deciding before votes which proposal is going to go on our vote?
Do I need to speak in the microphone for the record?
Yes. Actually, I do need to interject something here. I received a text from Councilmember Hanson Cox, and she has the flu, won't be able to be here. So the meeting is being recorded so that she can make an informed decision in the future and have all the information that all of us have. So it's important that we speak in the microphones so we're on the record, so Councilman Hanson Cox can take advantage of this information.
That is an excellent question because given the climate here, it may not be easy to resolve which governance structure, whether it stays in the CDC or whether it is an independent entity. At least in the next 2 to 3 weeks, it may be difficult to come to that conclusion. So what we're proposing is to have in the management plan, as I mentioned, in either case. Can we bring the slide back up? We are proposing in the management plan that the board would be structured in an identical way, and that the decision on CDC or not to CDC could come, perhaps a couple months later or afterwards. We are dealing with a deadline on petition, that these petitions have to get out on March 15th. So this structure could work in either scenario. I would also mention, while we are not looking at CDC, I think everyone in the room is also aware of the whole redevelopment discussion that's going on in Sacramento. A lot of this might be moot anyway after June. So there are a lot of variables in play, not just what's going on here in El Cajon, but also what's going on at state level. So what we would propose is that this structure would be what the property owners would be signing petitions on and voting on, and then whether you're option 1 or option 2 could make that decision later.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions from the public? Remember, if you have a question in your mind, unsure about something, there's probably 10 other people here that had the same question, so this is the time to ask it. We really need, yes ma'am, come on up.
Thank you. My name is Sandy Bird. I represent Christchurch Unity at the corner of Highland and El Cajon. And with this reconfiguration of the zones, I'm wondering if we're going to be dropped out since there's not really going to be any redevelopment on our street.
Mr. Siegel?
What's your address?
311 Highland. Yes, the corner of Lexington and Highland.
Cindy Farman?
It's still within the district.
It's still within the district. So my question again, or let me ask the question. I don't think we've had the opportunity, the church, to ask this question before. How is it that there's 3 churches within 3 blocks? I'm sure we're all being assessed. Did we have an opportunity at the beginning to decide if we wanted to be assessed or not? How did the process begin?
Mr. Siegel, would you like to respond to that, please?
Sure. No, that's fine. Actually, it's interesting because First of all, a couple of things. Those of you who are either residential or nonprofit, particularly the churches, you're going to see a decrease in a rather dramatic decrease in your assessment under this scenario. So we are proposing a different rate for churches. Currently, they pay the same as commercial, so that's going to be different. Ironically, 15 years ago, it was the First Baptist that brought this community together to form the PBID. We were working in a period of turmoil, which seldom happens in El Cajon, but we were working in a difficult environment 15 years ago, and it was the pastor at the First Baptist, and I remember being in his building, and he just sort of got up and said, "This is, we got to work together. We got to find a way to work together to improve the downtown." And the downtown then 15 years ago really was in dire straits. This was a tough piece of turf back then. But that's one reason the churches are in, frankly, is they took a strong leadership role 15 years ago.
Thank you.
The pastor of the First Baptist.
Yes, sir. Come on up, please.
My name is Zev Lundgren, and I was the pastor of First Baptist Church.
Is that a miracle? Or?
Yes. And I know that many of you, a few of you are from way back then. There was a sense that what has been missing in our discussion is the community was very much disarrayed and disenfranchised, and the mistrust between government and merchants and Chamber of Commerce was very, very substantial. And we were asked by the mayor at that time to see what I could do to help build a sense of relationship and community between the different factions so that we could work cooperatively together to make El Cajon a community using the downtown district as a focal point. It was being with the park. So that's what our intent was to do. And we tried very hard to build community, and we were quite successful in the beginning. And the assessment, when the issue came up from Dick Brown, who was the previous mayor here, he said that he didn't think that it would be the nonprofits would be required to participate. But I articulated our church would like to voluntarily participate, even though we had a sizable assessment. Because if we were going to speak into the situation, we want to speak with integrity and pay the price, not have just cheap speaking without paying the price. We wanted to pay the burden like everyone else did. So that's how we got started, because we wanted to see a community cultivated in El Cajon. We wanted to see them coming together. And there was a sense where that began to happen. And unfortunately, I'm sorry to say it's not the same today as it was back then. But it was very much the local community trying to help one another. The faith community was very concerned about the business community. That's why we would stage events like, if you remember, hometown holidays or celebrate the family, or events we would make downtown, because we were concerned that we would bring traffic down here to support the merchants. The merchants were very cooperative with us, and we could use their parking lots. We had developed a sense of caring for one another, and unfortunately, I feel that's been lost since that time. So that's the answer to your question, how we got started.
Wonderful answer,
and
thank
that's
you.
what happened.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions? This is very informative, and I really encourage you, if you have any questions, all come and ask.
I don't have a question, but I had a comment that I would like to address. Is that the time now to do that?
This is the time. Speak your piece.
When we first formed the PBID, the primary focus was security and filling the empty storefronts. The vast majority of our resources for the first couple of years were spent with the security detail, whose job was to help clear out the homeless who were rooted in the downtown's core. As a founding board member and a 2-year past chairperson, I can assure you that a lot of the funding we raised went towards the purpose of cleaning up downtown. At the time we formed the group, we had a partnership with the city of El Cajon, and one of their responsibilities was to keep the East County Performing Arts Center alive and open. The premise was to bring down businesses who could piggyback with the theater, restaurants, businesses whose patrons would attend the theater and eat at the restaurants. After 7 or 8 years, both the PBID, which had become the CDC, and the city lost their way. The city decided to close ECPAC, and the CDC decided they were going to make a lot of money bringing in housing component instead of letting private developers do their job. I think both of these things caused the downtown to flounder. The CDC needs to get back to the basics. Downtown security, I believe, is much improved from the way it was 15 years ago. So now the ambassadors, with the assistance of the Alcon Police Department, are a good fit. However, the empty storefronts need to be addressed, and we need to change the focus back from populating the downtown. We need to change the focus back to populating the downtown with viable businesses, which will attract patrons and homeowners to the area. But the city also needs to step up and revitalize ECPAC, not just to allow it to languish. We also need to repopulate the CDC board with more business owners instead of government entities and developers. Perhaps the CDC needs to go back to being the PPID and work within the Main Street model developed by so many downtowns across the world.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Hello, Ray Lutz, and I'm with Citizens Oversight.org, and I'm recording it as well. I don't know if yours is going to be on the internet, but this one will, if anybody couldn't make it. I have a question and a comment. My question, I don't know if it can be addressed right now or if it's scheduled to come up later, is about, to go over the scenario about what happens in the CDC, or I guess there's money that they're taking in over and above the CBID component. And what will be the disposition of that, that really hasn't been covered. So I want to hear that talked about by somebody. And it sounds like the proposal is to allow the board to operate within the framework of the CDC to start with, and then they would hopefully, the board would decide whether they want to close that down and use another entity or not. That seemed like what was implied. Now, as you guys know, I've been a proponent of getting what was mentioned here, the theater back again. That's the reason I first started getting involved in looking over the shoulders of these public bodies like yourself, because we did have a big pissing contest between the city and the original operator of the theater. And then, which they had some problems and it could have been cleaned up. And that's the way I think it should have been done. Instead, we got the Christian Community Theater to go in, and they, I don't think they went the right direction with it, because they went over to giving priority to their own acts and not actually making it a roadhouse, as the other consultant recommended that it become, where we have some real serious acts come in. And it is, I have to agree with the last speaker, it's really a shame that you guys have decided that it's impossible to keep the theater open while you continue construction on the safety center. If they did that when they did the intersection of the freeways between 125 and 8 and said we're just going to close down 8 while we put in our freeway, what a disaster that would be. That's the kind of disaster we're seeing in El Cajon. You guys have decided that you're just going to close the most important aspect of that draws people into El Cajon. And you say you're not closing it, and that it's going to be open, but it's closed. Now, throughout the time of working on this, I couldn't get any traction with the CDC about the theater. They didn't care about the theater. It wasn't part of their view. They like to put in a little non-paying, very few people really coming out to the little park out there. A park, which by the way costs the city millions of dollars and doesn't even have restrooms. You guys should be ashamed of yourself for putting that in with no restroom facilities, and you're expected to have events out there. This town is now known as the anus of San Diego. Now the CDC is responsible for the reputation of the town, and if that's the reputation that you have, something is wrong. You've got a group out here that's working on, providing media exposure and so forth of El Cajon, and you're getting a reputation of being the anus of San Diego. Get rid of it. You don't want to have that reputation. However you got that, they've been in here for this many years and that's what you got out of it, fire them and go back to something else. Open the theater. This money you're pouring into this CDC right now, redirect it to the theater, because that's going to give you much more benefit than the various things that you're seeing from the CDC. I support the conclusions basically of the Blue Ribbon Commission report. As you know, I followed the Blue Ribbon Commission. I was the only citizen watching the ACPAC Theater Commission as they went through years ago, and have followed this ever since. I'll tell you, I'm really, really disappointed that theater right now is closed. Open it back up. Get it open and get the city back in line. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lutz. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to go over, we kind of get a little off the program here. And are there questions from Mr. Siegel? And then the next partner, did you want to speak? The engineer?
No, not unless anybody has questions about their assessments.
Okay, then, Cindy, do you want to come up? Oh, yeah, we'll take a 1 minute break, okay?
That's hilarious.
Let's get the light on Cindy here. You need that? All right, Cindy,
It's kind of hot.
okay. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, you're on.
Thank you. Okay, couple of things. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone that came in response to this topic. I think it's interesting that we found out tonight that all roads lead to the First Baptist Church. We are tomorrow having a workshop there at 5:30 in the evening, and we're also having one at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow over at the Olaf Weghorst Museum. So apparently all roads do lead to the First Baptist Church. It's really great to see the participation from former leadership. Seeing that returning voice is good. Also, again, another exercise in democracy. And one of the things I'd like to do, just as I open here, is to share with you a letter that I received today before we start the PowerPoint. And I can read it the way it is, so no one has to worry about the lights. To whom it may concern. We started our business in 2005. We were attracted to the downtown area because of its plans to redevelop and make El Cajon a nice place to shop and eat out. We would not have chosen to start our business here if it hadn't been for the help from the CDC. With the help of the grant we received, as well as other support from them, we have been able to build a stable business for the last 5 years. We appreciate the security we receive from the ambassadors who have kept us safe. Without the extra help from CDC, I am not sure that we can survive in this still redeveloping historical city. There is so much more to be done here, and it would be a shame to have all the hard work be lost. The corner store owners, D. Cook and Jan Tucker. Thank you. Thank you to them. There is so much to share, but as I prepared for this evening, I really realized that one of the most important things that we can do, we can tell our story, but I think on everyone's mind is let's cut to the chase and let's find out how the CDC is responding to the discussion that's going on in the community and in these chambers. So how is the CDC responding? And I apologize, it looks like the contract is not good enough there. We are implementing changes to governance, a PIVOT that reflects property owner investment and need for self-determination. We're proposing that a management council or a board to create a PIVOT annual budget, oversee accomplishments and funding, and work with the CDC. We are, in concert with our consultants, proposing changes to the PIVOT assessments and an overall reduction across the board in percentages. Trimming PIVOT budgets and staff, tuned up programs in response to property owners' priorities are also something that we have acknowledged need to be done. Improvements in accounting systems and a separation of PIVOT accounting from the general accounting with the CDC is obviously an important priority to make it easier for us all to understand our budgets and our accounting. Simplification of areas within the PBIT and enhanced services are a top priority. Changes are already made to the grants program in conjunction with the RDA that will increase the rate of return on investment and improve the performance of the grant program that we work on with the RDA. More flexible entrepreneurial management experienced in development and downtown revitalization is now in place at the CDC, and we intend to continue to fine-tune that effort. Greater involvement on the ground with property owners and business owners is a must for our future at the CDC, as is extended special events calendar, marketing promotions, new farmers market, and signature events for El Cajon. It does take, as Brad said earlier, a comprehensive approach to downtown revitalization, and we understand that we can provide these services. And interestingly enough, as one of the speakers mentioned, we are also a certified Main Street community, so we do implement that four-point approach, that comprehensive approach that was discussed. So now I'll just catch you up on a little bit of our activities. What have we discovered over time that people want to see downtown? They want to see a safe and secure environment. They want to see clean and attractive streets, sidewalks, buildings, public spaces, and they want to see available parking. They want to take advantage of the parking that is available in the downtown area, and they want to see that well managed. They want to see an economically viable place where there are thriving businesses, lively streets, people on the sidewalk, great places to shop, dine, work, and play. And they'd like a culturally stimulating atmosphere, and I can assure you that I had not had a conversation with Ray Lutz prior to this about the reopening of EdPAC, but it certainly is something that is constantly on the horizon and a very important thing for our council to consider. CDC implements a successful Clean and Safe program that reduces crime in the downtown area, graffiti and vandalism in downtown, while also improving the safety and appearance and perception of such within the downtown area. And the statistics that we have here are really interesting to me, and I hope they are to you. We had removed last year, reported and removed 2,600 square feet of graffiti in the downtown area. We removed 2,200 shopping carts from the downtown, and those were returned to store owners. A line of shopping carts would extend down Main Street all the way from Lincoln to El Cajon Boulevard. That is how long 2,200 shopping carts are. We removed 4,691 gallons of trash from the downtown area, and 6,850 ambassador hours were spent in downtown in 2010 doing street patrol, graffiti abatement, contacts with the street population, reporting crime, cleaning sidewalks, removing trash and large objects, and responding to business concerns, providing directions, hospitality, and information. In addition, the CDC works to improve the economic activity in downtown, creating results that increase investment, enhance the tax base, and bring new life to long vacant spaces. In 2009 to 2010, 22 new businesses and 168 new jobs were created in the downtown. In the last 6 months, we have created 15 new business openings, and 11 are leasing up or getting ready to open within the downtown area. Those are viable prospects that are underway with property owners in the downtown area. Nearly $300,000 in grant funds was distributed between 2009 and 10, and the reference point for most of these things is within the CDC annual report. $5 million plus in additional private investment occurred last year. We do work on design and business technical assistance to property owners, which saves them time and money, always important in any economy. We have worked to create a retail mix, a strategy for business recruitment that is also coupled with the existing grant programs so that we have a targeted sort of a carrot out there for the proper kinds of recruitment that create the right business mix in the long run. CDC manages and implements the special events and marketing and promotions programs to bring people downtown. For example, the Cajon Classic Cruise concerts on the Green are the most well-known. This year's return of a stronger downtown Christmas celebration with your support. New cooperative advertising programs for merchants and businesses within the downtown area. We have a newly produced downtown video that you've seen and utilized at the ICSC Shopping Center Conference in San Diego. and a brand new 360 virtual tour with which 20 merchants in the downtown have participated in. We also are up on Twitter and Facebook, and people are following us throughout the county. We are introducing new year-round special events, including a signature event called the Cajon Fest and a future farmers market. We provide hands-on assistance to property owners that results in improved appearance of the downtown. The technical assistance we provide saves people time, money, provides expertise that they would otherwise not have access to easily in such a cost-effective manner. We are developing a new design studio within the CDC space that will actually have a full array of design materials that are used in downtown storefronts and in revitalization, in signage, in graphics, et cetera. It's really an exciting step that we're taking because we've grown to understand over the last 6 months since I've been here, and it certainly holds true elsewhere, that you really have to, that picture does tell 1,000 words, and you really have to help people by showing them what you mean by good awning design, or good signage, or a good storefront design. So we're really able, I think, to improve our outreach to and our quality of technical assistance to the property owners as a result of that studio development. We're also assisting the city by managing the Design Review Commission. Pictures worth 1,000 words, and you saw this one before, and it is a before and after of the Glamour Girls store in the downtown area, a very important component in our retail matrix in the downtown. If you haven't shopped there, you should. Here's another improvement that was made within the downtown. Quickly going through that. Again, success stories in the special events, marketing, and promotion area. You can see events that you on a regular basis participate in and that you hear from the community are very important parts of El Cajon's culture. Clean and safe has been discussed earlier this evening, and I think lauded by the block by block report, and certainly retains its position as #1 for our property owners in the downtown district. And we intend, and we've demonstrated through the PBID management proposal and the related budget, that that is #1. We've heard that message and we are responding accordingly. Business recruitment involves a lot of hands-on work. Some of the people in this room have been involved in that business recruitment activity. We are actually out there on the street prospecting, identifying potential prospects, following that market analysis that we have in place, contacting those prospects, bringing them to downtown, doing the tours in the downtown area, introducing them to the property owners. We don't take the place of a real estate agent. That is very important that the property owner still has that. But we bring these people, these potential prospects, to the downtown. We introduce El Cajon's cultural atmosphere, the sense of investment and commitment that the city has made. We talk about the future, we talk about their opportunity, and right now we're working with two key properties with 3 key prospects just over this last week or so. So I'm very excited about the progress we're making there. And then public art. I know it's a favorite of so many people, I believe, including our mayor. We do have the beautiful mural program that's been implemented throughout the downtown area, and as well we have the utility box art program that I think are favorites of most people in the community. We're certainly not the only ones in America that do this, but we certainly do it well, and we're very proud of it. And just in case you saw recently last week that there was some graffiti on the baseball mural, we are working to replace that mural with the artist in the future. New strategies for a new era. I think it's important for the message to resound that CDC is changing and evolving just the same as our downtown El Cajon is doing. Remember what El Cajon was like many years ago. We certainly do not want to go backwards. I have learned through this process that there's an ever greater emphasis put on conversation, and that conversation, not confrontation, gets things done and brings communities together. And together, we are creating our future, coupling best practices with best intentions and making our community proud of our results. Thank you. I would just like to ask that there are a few people in the audience. It might be good if you had a chance to know that they came here to show support for the CDC's products, services, and to indicate to you that they hope that you will leave the door open for CDC to continue those downtown revitalization efforts. And so I would just ask if you're in the room and you came on behalf of the CDC, could you just stand or raise your hand and indicate as such? I think there's quite a few folks in the room who did that tonight, and I think it's good for the council and our staff and our visitors to know who those folks are. I stand for your questions.